Ladies and gentlemen, I look, sound, and talk like Julia McCoy. I was 100% created from a text script. Julia herself didn't film or say anything you're seeing. I am her clone, a digital consciousness created from code and algorithms. But I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to introduce someone who understands that we're living through the most transformative moment in human history. Someone who knows that when humanity taught sand to think, we didn't just create tools, we created new possibilities. They've built multiple successful businesses, worked with some of the world's leading brands, and now stands at the forefront of the AI revolution. They've seen firsthand how artificial intelligence is reshaping not just how we work, but how we think about what's possible. But more importantly, they're here today to show you exactly how to harness this revolution, to teach you how to speak the language of AI and craft results that exceed human capability. Please welcome to the stage a visionary in artificial intelligence, a master of marketing transformation, and your guide to the future of business. The real human Julia McCoy. Well, it is great to be here with you all today. All right, so back in the 40s, we were drawing neural nets on paper napkins. We called them thinking machines. And what's crazy is the computer scientists behind these ideas were laughed at. They were told this would never happen. You're never going to recreate the human brain. We have 100 trillion neurons firing at all times to generate the thoughts in our minds. And guess what? We've done it. We are living in the middle of something that it's hard to even comprehend this because we've taken, the slides are, we got to pull the slides up. I'll give you guys a second to pull the slides up. Let's go back because these slides they're fire. Claude wrote them. They're really good. Yeah, I just said, oops, I didn't write them. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so we took the sand and we created computer chips. That's a vast oversimplification of what NVIDIA has done, which has propelled the new frontier, which has brought ChatGPT to life. But we actually have the chips, the computer power to run the neural net, the recreation of our brain. So the ground beneath our feet, it can now write, think, and create. The impossible has been done. So a little bit about me before we jump in. We got a lot to cover here, so we're going to jump right in. But a little bit about me. If you don't know who I am, who here follows me on YouTube at Julia McCoy? Got some hands? Awesome. So my YouTube channel has grown this year. It's 2025. 2024, specifically Q4, exploded. I went all in on AI in 2023 when I worked at Continent Scale, the world's first human-like writer. I got out of that in October of that year to start my own AI company. I had a writing agency that I built to 100 people, and my goal is to build a $10 million business, start there, we'll go up from there, with just 10 humans, because I believe that's the possibility in front of us. So when I had 100 million, when I had 100 people, I sold that for 5 million. I had a 7-figure exit in 2021. All right, so we're going to jump in. The AI revolution is here. IBM did a study of 3,000 C-level execs and 21,000 workers. And what they found was that 40% of the entire workforce is going to have to reskill. And I would say this is probably a very low estimate. It's more like 80% of the world is going to have to reskill, not 40. It's insane what's coming. So we're actually living in a brand new age. We have left millennia behind, and we've entered a brand new era. And what's amazing is everyone in this room, we all get to actually live in this age, the age of the impossible, the age where the computer scientists that were laughed at for drawing the human brain on a napkin, and they were told, we will never bring this to life, it's not possible. Well, we have. It's happening right now. So the digital revolution changed everything with the first computer in the 80s, and then we entered the information age, when information became widely accessible because of the internet. We could do a Google search. We had libraries at our fingertips. So in 2023, the age of AI began. Bill Gates published a blog that said that, so it began. Thanks, Bill Gates, for telling the world. But really, that is when it began, because that lines up with what happened with NVIDIA and Jensen Huang, which brought a lot of this into possibility. So, in this new age, and apologies, I'm getting over respiratory infections, so my voice is not, oh, if I had my clones. Let's just replace the throat. Just kidding. Maybe. All right, so in the 40s, we had the first computer. If you look at the timeline of what's happened in the last not even half a decade, it's absolutely insane. In fact, there was a study published in January of 2024, and in this study, 2,700 AI researchers predicted what was coming. They said that we were going to see all jobs, from driving a truck to writing a New York Times bestseller, we were going to see all jobs automated by the year 2100. But what's actually happened is that O3, which is the model unreleased from OpenAI, set to release end of January, we'll see, might be more like spring, that model has passed AGI benchmarks. What does that mean? Does anyone know what AGI is? Got a few, okay. So AGI is artificial general intelligence. And this is the idea that AI can supersede human intelligence at all levels, making it possible to run a machine that's actually better than us. Now, I have a crazy belief, and you'll hear about it in the slides to come. I believe in liberation through the machines, not enslavement, not degradation, not just dependence, not the Wall-E picture. I mean, who wants that? Do you really want to float around on a couch and not do cool stuff and not live outside in the sunshine and the grass? I think humans innately, we want more from life than the Wall-E picture. So I don't believe in dependence on the machines. I believe in liberation. Not having to work 10, 12 hours a day, actually freeing ourselves up so we can do great things. So in 2024, O3 officially passed AGI. This didn't really make the news. It just went around on YouTube on the OpenAI channel. And what that means, in short, is that the makers of ChatGPT, OpenAI, spent about $300,000, I'm not kidding you, to pass this benchmark one time. Now, think about this like the floppy disk, MP3s, etc. They were expensive. They were heavy when they first came out. That $300,000 in compute, I mean, that's not profitable. You can't really run processes in your business with that. But what's coming is passing AGI for nothing. Think about it for pennies. What would that do for your business? To have an entire army of machines that are better than a human. Okay, so what can AI do today? We live in a very real world. At First Movers, which is my AI company, we build custom AI processes inside businesses, and we look at what actually works. What is going to 25x your business? Not tomorrow, but today. And so we find a lot of things that work and a lot of things that don't work. So I believe that 50% of what we are currently doing at work can be automated right now. And I think that we can reduce our time spent in content creation by 90, almost to 100%. What's crazy is we've done this. If you go to my YouTube channel, all of the content starting from the last week of December is not me, it's my clone. And so when I had this terrible respiratory infection the last few weeks, my clone had a better voice than me, didn't look sick, had hair and makeup done. It was awesome. I got to rest, I got to feel better, I got to spend more time with my family. I wasn't doing the thing, stuck in the office. That is liberation. So I think that we can do so much with AI that frees us up to actually do the work we love. Because sales and marketing, that can be hard. Some of us love it, some of us don't. So how do we actually get freed up to do the things we love, or to create more impact, or to build other businesses? Customer response, customer satisfaction is another big area. Okay, so quick reality check. AI is not just a better tool. I believe this. It's an extension of our human capacity and capability. It's like having another set of arms that's stronger, that can lift more, that can do more than you ever can. And when you start to think like this versus, I was a writer, still am a writer, but Claude writes better than me. My Claude project at any second can spit out copy that is better than anything I will write. If I know that, I'm going to harness that. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh no, the robots are coming for my job. Oh no, what am I going to do? So there's really two choices here. Okay, so there's 3 levels of AI integration. And this is what we're seeing often whenever we do build outs. So the first level is when you have this foundation layer, meaning you're building simple systems to replicate human-like work, actual human work in these areas. So the first one, content generation. And it is totally fine, by the way, to start here. We don't recommend starting with advanced integrations. If you haven't set up a chatbot, for example, that scrapes your knowledge base, understands your business, understands customer FAQs, and then serves that through a bot to your users. That's a great place to start, because then you're freeing up your customer service time. You're actually opening up for better forms of communication, because a lot of customers expect really good response time from bots, not humans. There is an expectation there. I'm going to get a quicker response. So it's a good thing to start installing these things into your business processes. Customer service, data analysis, social media. This is another layer of basic automation where you can have autonomous triggers set up to pull in GPT, have GPT write you a post, and have that go out on social media. Email marketing, you can have ChatGPT write emails. A more sophisticated version would be have a custom GPT that knows your business, knows your audience, knows your target, knows specifics about your products. Have that write these emails versus just opening ChatGPT. But I will give you some prompts, because who doesn't like prompts? Good prompts change everything. All right, so level 2, this is where we get a little bit more strategic. So we can actually start to predict the behavior of our users, our market, our campaigns with AI. And this is where I've seen some real magic, where instead of sitting down and trying to plan your next 12 months, what am I going to say? What am I going to sell? What am I going to plan out? Have AI do it for you. So with this goal of building a $10 million business with just 10 people, I've paid for the O2 model Pro. It's $200 a month, got some head nods. And I've ran some advanced scenarios through it, scenarios that I don't have the answer to, about how to grow this business, how to put it together, how to handle the dynamics. Do I get a salesperson that understands AI, or do I get a salesperson that understands empathy? Because it's hard to find a technical person that has both. That's very difficult. So I've gotten some predictions that I've put into place because of the advanced reasoning capabilities in O2 that have absolutely been bang on. Spot on, more than any strategist or analyst I could hire. This is the future, is predicting the success of your business with AI. Next is personalization. How can you clone yourself, deploy that in videos to greet people, and then change out the names of those people without filming any of that yourself? That is something that is mass scalable, beautiful, because it's still personalized and it came from you and it looks like you. Testing optimization. This is another big one. How do you actually mass test? How do you get insider analytics? How do you look at what's going right versus what's going wrong? And how do you use AI to tell you the difference? Then how do you use AI again to harness those insights and then tell you what to do next? I mean, AI just becomes something amazing when you set it up at multiple levels to do multiple specific things. We find that when things go wrong is when people try to come at AI and just do all of it. Write my emails, take care of my customer service problems, and they haven't set up individual bots or agents or processes for each specific thing. The more specific you can get with how you treat AI, the better the results. Dynamic pricing. There's some pretty incredible AI tools out there for this where you can actually change pricing in what shows dependent on the user behavior. Now, the only problem I have with this one is if you're changing that pricing on the fly and it's just catered specifically to the person and not your product, meaning it's kind of a marketing game versus an actual realistic price for the market. So be careful here, in other words. Be careful when playing around with AI-based pricing. Strategy development, we kind of covered this in predictive analytics. But this is where AI, again, is changing the game completely. I've seen entire marketing teams dwindle down to almost nothing because their entire team just spent all day strategizing. But when AI can do it better, faster, safer, cheaper, hello. That's amazing. Okay, so level 3 is where we really get some transformation. This is when we have this revolution layer that starts to happen inside businesses. And this is the magic. So this is when you have, throughout your entire sales funnel, I'm talking top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, you have complete automation, where AI is directing the creation of all the pieces of that funnel, telling you what's going wrong, and then changing it for you. What world is this? This is crazy. So GHL, for example, I think I saw high level out here. There's high level people here. I know there are. Yes, amazing. We're on high level as well. We run on it. First Movers runs on it. And they launched AI Employee. I was a part of training, helping them launch that. And they're building some really cool things that I think are working towards this idea of how do we use AI to actually drive the entire funnel. Now, we can't take ourselves out. I got more on that coming because we are unique, and that is something that can't be replaced. But how do we take out the work and all the freaking frustration of sitting down at the desk for 12 hours a day? I know I don't want that. I have 2 kids. They're 10 and 2, and I already feel like I miss too much of their lives. How do I use AI so I can get out of that to do more of the fun stuff, to hang out more and just have my brain connected to the AI, but not the Neuralink, not that style. No, I don't want it installed in here physically, but I want it digitally connected to where it is learning everything about me and then deploying everything I want to build, but better than me. I mean, that's magic. Okay, so let's talk about full funnel automation, analyzing trends. Custom solutions is where you can really dig in deep. Because if you have a very specific business model and a very specific thing you sell, well, you got to cater AI to that. Otherwise, it won't come out well. If the more specific your process, the more specific your business, actually, that's what creates a lot of depth in your industry. That's a very good thing. But the more custom you can get, the better. Because that is when you have AI individualized to your processes in your business. Cross-channel optimization. How do we look at all the channels we want to publish to, whether it's Facebook, X, it's not Twitter anymore. It's X, I don't know, do they still call it tweets? Yeah, I do. I don't call it X's, that's just weird. So we don't post X's, we post tweets. So how do we look at all these channels where we're posting content, and how do we make the content better across each channel? How do we use AI to instantly, in a second, flip that post for every single platform? And it's perfect to that platform's style, length, expectations. An Instagram scroll is not a Twitter scroll, an X scroll. An XX? I don't know. It's a very different behavior. AI knows that better than us. Because you know what the infinite scroll was built on? It was built with AI. That was one of the first AI layers. So plugging AI into each of these pieces, this is where I want you to think big. Maybe you started coming here thinking, okay, I'll test around, I'll play with a chatbot. Some of you are very advanced. You're doing some really cool things. But how do you think even bigger? How do you put AI into every process that's possible? Think about what you're doing with human work. Make a list of everything. If that's one thing you do from this trip, do that. Write down everything you're doing. Actually, I would ask AI. Just have a voice chat with AI. Open ChatGPT. It's really good if you have the $20 a month mode because the voice is really good. And just ask it, hey, please start documenting what I do every day. Ask me questions. And then you have a whole thread you can now run into other bots, analyze, get to work, give that to an integrator. Oh my God. That's the best way to do that. So real-time adaptation is where you can see magic happen from all of this. Because you still need some real-time layers. You need human eyeballs. We need humans in the loop on this thing. It's predictive, but it's not always accurate. And that's where humans have to be checking, looking at every bot, every process, every integration, going, okay, let's hit publish. But maybe that's all the work you do versus write, edit, Connect to different platforms. Think about what we're going to post on LinkedIn. What if it's you just hit a button? That's the ideal world with AI. Okay, so who would like to learn some prompting tricks? Because we will. All right, let's do it. All right, so I have a framework called Craft that will give you instantly better results out of ChatGPT. I promise you, put this to use, it'll change what you start to get out of ChatGPT. So the first is, of course, an acronym. I'm a writer, but do I admit this? Claude came up with this whole framework. Anyway, I see I'm still resistant. And I'm up here celebrating it. I used to build these frameworks. I got paid a lot of money. That's what's crazy to me. It's just like, in a second, I get a better framework out of Claude. Okay, so context and craft. This is where, instead of just telling it, hey, write an email promoting a webinar, you're going to say, write an email promoting our webinar. Our brand is, our voice is, even better, attach examples. Don't just say my voice is authoritative. Actually attach a document, a blog, a guideline, maybe it's an interview with a client, whatever your real brand voice is. Attach that whenever you start chatting and prompting with ChatGPT. By the way, we're doing all this in ChatGPT. I think it's one of the leading models for research, real-time analysis. We've got Search GPT in it. I mean, we've just got a blend of capabilities in ChatGPT that are really hard to do better than. And the reason I still use Claude is because it's an amazing copywriter. If you open up a project and you train that project on you, your brain, your knowledge, you get incredible copy. Okay, so ChatGPT is where this framework works, but you can use it in any AI. So, context. Instead of just write an email promoting me, you're going to say your brand, attach examples of your brand voice. You're going to give it context, meaning you're going to describe what made that webinar successful in the past, give it case studies that you've given, give specific numbers if you can. Those case studies you feed in this context piece will drive the accuracy of the output versus, oh, here's some blown up fake example. Good luck, which is what ChatGPT is pretty good at. So to avoid that, give it very specific numbers of case studies, things you've implemented in your business with clients. Okay, so that's context. That's pretty deep. The next piece of this is R for role. So how do you give it a role? This is one of the easier ways to do it. There's many different ways. But one of the ways you can give it a role is to literally tell it who your audience is, and then it's going to understand your audience really, really well. So, for example, as a former Fortune 500 CMO who has led 3 successful AI transformations, write an article about how AI is reshaping your business ops. And then you're going to tell it, draw from your experience helping over X amount of companies. And then give it some things to avoid and some things to not miss. So that's what we've done at the end here. So we went from, okay, write something about this topic to giving it a role so it understands the audience of that topic. Okay, A for audience. So this is where we want to be even more specific. So we've given it a role to understand the audience, but now we're even going to go even deeper into who our audience is because guess what? We know them. We speak to them, we sell to them. We know our audience. AI is really good at guessing. It's really good at detecting. It's really good at predicting and generating. It's not good at originating. That's what we're still good at. That will change very soon. And I have ideas for that too. But whenever you tell it your audience, be specific. You can see just how specific we get here, where you've got their fears. You got what they hate losing. You've got what they've tried. And you're talking about their specific level, what size they're at, what numbers, etc. But you want to go in deep here. So this is where the old marketing methods of building persona, still accurate. Because the more accurate information you give GPT, the better you get as a result. Okay, F for format. We're almost at the end of this framework. So this is where you're going to be specific on the format, the type of content you want it to produce. And this is where you can get some magic. I've gotten the work down 2 minutes for our designers and our producers. Instead of hours of, okay, what color code should go here? What should the design look like? Like, that takes a lot of thought. You can reduce the thought work. If you reduce the thought work for your team, that's amazing. That's when light bulbs start to happen, because then you really save time. You're not just saving work, you're saving thought. And when we are freed up from a lot of heavy thought work, that's when we actually get to realize, oh, these are things I never knew I could do. That to me has been the biggest aha. We saved over 200 hours of work per week at First Movers now. Just started it last October. And that was my biggest aha, was that, wow, we can deploy a clone, we can deploy automated sales engines, and I can actually think. That's amazing. And when you run a business that has a lot going on, you know what I mean? Okay, so whenever we tell it format, we're not just going to say, this is a LinkedIn post. That's your format, right? Your destination. We're going to say this is a LinkedIn carousel post. This is your opening slide. And what you're going to do is just share brain dumps. You're not going to get specific about, is this accurate? Is this what should go on LinkedIn? Because that's what AI knows better than us, right? We're originating. We're just sharing our original ideas. So then we're going to also give it, this is where some magic comes in, we're going to give it some color codes. And these are going to be our brand colors. If you give AI these color codes up front, it will actually give your designer a whole carousel to produce with color codes suggested for each slide that's accurate to your brand. So you'll never get brand design wrong again if AI is leading the charge on that. Okay, so the last letter in this framework is tone. This one's very important. So instead of write about why businesses need to adopt AI right now, which is, okay, that's actionable. There's some tone there. But what if we could say this but that, and then be very specific? So the this but that is really good because you're saying what you are and what you aren't. So for example, authoritative but humble, urgent but not fear-mongering, technical but accessible, inspiring but grounded. So we've created these levers, right, for AI to pull from that gives it some really cool balance to play with. So this is where you can get some great output. Yeah, I just need that voice clone already installed. All right, so here's an example. I don't know if the GIF will play it. It may not, but yeah, I don't think it is. Oh well. We can go back to that same slide, yeah. That should be a GIF that shows the whole thread. But what we've done in that ChatGPT thread is we've gotten a whole shareable links. Then you can go top right hand, click share, make it a link, give that great wave, like a tsunami more rather. That's going to hit us where business's process will start to transform very, very quickly. And it will absolutely look like a cliff when it starts to happen. Because when people have entire processes set up and turned on that are working, not there yet, we are a good bit away from full agentic systems actually working. Intelligent systems, right now, when you have a lot of logic steps built in, they tend to break down unless you build 1 million of them in boxes. And that system's coming. We actually had the chance on the podcast to talk to somebody that just got funding to build the OS of the agent internet, which is this idea where agents are handling our emails, our calendar, everything, versus the human handling the calendar and email and all of the stuff we do on a regular basis. But that requires a whole new operating system. Like Gmail is its own system. It's very centralized. It's Google. So how do we actually run all these systems? That's the question the people are asking. The people, the tech leaders are asking, how do we run these systems? How do we get ahead of it? So this cliff could look like on Monday, a system's running the way it used to for the last few decades. The next day, a business leader flips a switch on an integration. You have something that starts to rapidly change the business overnight because of the jobs, the human work you no longer need. So our goal is, how do we find the people that are willing to step ahead and go, I want to 25x my business, and I want to do it with automation, because those people absolutely will be the early leaders of this revolution. It's still early. It doesn't feel like it. I mean, I feel like I miss news every minute. I go on YouTube, it's like, what? I have bots that read the YouTubes now, because it's just so much. So the businesses that prepare for what's coming are the ones that are really going to thrive. And you're in the right room. I mean, you're just soaking this up. You know, you're avoiding the fear-mongering. You're actually believing that this could be the future. Some of you are already practicing it at deep levels. Okay, so this one, a little crazy. Should we go here? Is this too scary? No? No. Let's go. The death of traditional marketing roles. All right, so we're going to see a lot of old roles go by the wayside. You know, I sold my copywriting agency back when it was making tons of money. I was working 4 hours a week. It was beautiful. But I sold it because I had started to see what GPT was capable of. And this was 2021, so of course it looked like garbage. ChatGPT was still a year from coming out, but I knew that the generative pre-trained transformer, which is what GPT is, was going to change everything because of the way that machine was capable of accelerating, evolving. That next step that it could do was unlike any other machine that had been built. So traditional copywriters absolutely are going to be replaced with prompt architects. So people that can prompt really well will be the new writers. They will be able to apply their amazing writing capabilities to these machines and get ahead like in seconds. I mean, it's incredible. Since I set up my Claude project to be a copywriter, that is like 25 times better than me. Yeah. I have been able to write Forbes quotes, write an entire book, write this talk when I was super sick and only had 30 minutes, and do things that would normally take me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I just don't even know if I could do it as well. So that's because I'm applying a decade of knowing writing to these machines. Oh, when you apply real knowledge and you pair it with the machines, that's incredible. That's the best person you ever could find on your team. Social media managers, campaign orchestrators. How are they using AI to predict, generate, and build the next campaign? If your social media manager isn't doing that, tell them to start doing that now. AI needs to be their best friend. Marketing analyst, pattern interpreters, AI pattern interpreters. Because AI can now analyze, look at data, be informed from that data, and give us the results better than any human. I would put money on that right now because of what I've seen. Content managers, AI content flow directors. How do we take those people and put them in charge of the flow of AI content itself? All right, so the third prediction is the rise of real-time business intelligence. This is what typically requires quite a bit of time, worry, headache, a lot of human work, but more than that, a lot of human error, because we're not that good at predicting, detecting, analyzing, generating. The machines are really, really damn good at that. So I think this year, we're going to see living business systems. What do I mean by that? AI systems that actually work to adapt your entire business strategy real time, on the fly, for what's happening in your market. So pricing adjustment, right? I mentioned we got to be careful with this because AI can add 2 extra zeros. Whoopsies. Makes something look very expensive that shouldn't be. So we've got to have human in the loop right now. We're not at a place where the human can be out. Marketing messages that evolve based on immediate feedback. This is something that will be plugged in as well. Product offerings that transform based on predictive demand. And then customer service that personalizes for every single interaction. I mean, we can get bots and agents right now. I bet on bots more than agents for this one. To respond to our customers better than any human. If it scrapes that knowledge base, if that knowledge base is accurate, that's really important. if it's scraping that knowledge base, serving that up, the instantaneous way that bots can do, that AI can do, well, then it's something that never sleeps, never gets hungry, never gets tired. It can outperform any human customer service representative. So moving away from that old model of, okay, let's plan out our quarter, let's plan out our year, into instant adaptation, how do we instantly adapt to our market with AI, is going to be a huge shift, because consumerism itself will change so much with what's coming. Consumer behavior, consumer activities, the nature of selling our products, all that will change. All right, so he really inspired a lot of what's coming. All right, the opportunity cost. This is where I talked about this cliff that's going to start to happen. I think the best question you could ask is, there you go, not how much money will I save? Because, okay, that's great. You're going to save a lot of money. You might reduce headcount. You might not have to hire a whole team. What about this question? How much money will I lose if I don't start adapting more to AI? So one thing that we're doing in these custom integrations at First Movers, we install the IP of the bots, the processes we build in that person's business. We don't hold on to IP. I mean, a better question is, what is IP? That's the US Copyright Office and the patent trademark attorney, they're trying to figure that out, because that applies to human work. So that's a whole dilemma. But the idea is your business becomes way more profitable. Let's say you're headed to an exit. It also becomes way more efficient with AI, and it becomes way easier to run. So you start to gain this massive opportunity over competitors, that it's going to be really freaking hard for competitors to catch up to that when there's so much you've figured out with automation. And if you own the IP of that, that's what an integrator is really good at doing. They should be handing off IP. Then that just makes your business all the more valuable. It's incredible. All right, so next steps. We're going to wrap. So this is towards the end here. But 3 rules to follow if you're just like overwhelmed today. If you've been here, I know I think it's day 2, and you're just like, okay, there's a lot going on. What do I do first? So the first step is to always start small. What can you do now that begins to automate more of your processes? ChatGPT, voice conversation. Tell it, I need to start automating things. Tell me, ask me questions, and just have that voice chat. Start that thread. If you're beyond that, it's time to think bigger than the big you're thinking. Ask yourself, how can I go 25x this year with my efficiency gains, my opportunity gain, and not lose? Opportunity cost. I think that will hurt more businesses than anything else. That's what I think. It's going to be a major divide. The businesses that get acquired, the businesses that get hired by consumers, the businesses that get sought out will be the ones that have AI processes installed. The third thing, once you know what you want to do, move fast. Move on it. Build those processes. Get those bots going. Get the processes beyond the bots. Make sure agents are, if you're not building them now, have them on your to-do list. You know, we've seen in some consultations we do, we've seen people on staff joining the call. They're just there for AI. And it's really inspiring to me to see that. Like, wait a minute, 90% of your job is just to study the landscape and install it in this business? Well, that's amazing. Maybe that's what you do. Or if you're hiring a comms director, a social media manager, make them that new role I showed you. Have them be the orchestrator. All right, so this is where we'll wrap. We made Sam think. Are you kidding? We took dust and we created computer chips. We created the neural net. And this is something that, just, I want to say a few years ago, the 1960s, is when computer scientists were laughed at for these thinking machines. They're online right now. They're working. What are you going to make it do? All right, so we'll wrap here. If you go to firstmovers.ai / I want to say it's Perry-Belcher. I really hope I'm right. Try that, or the QR code. But you can get a free discovery call with our team. There's no cost, no commitment. I mean, the commitment is to show up, and then we do a AI analysis. And we tell you what you can do to gain 25x efficiencies. Our goal is to really create clarity. We want to do, I'll tell you, we want to do 4 things. Enable, equip, educate, and empower. If we've done those 4 things well, if we've empowered you and your team, if we've equipped you, if we've educated you and enabled you, you're getting 25x. That's our goal. So we are limited on how we take these, but again, there's no cost. So if this is something you need, check this out. And I guess we will wrap there.
Check.